Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be making a Spanish rice. Alright, so I have all the ingredients that we're going to be using today. Right here, those are the diced tomatoes. It's 1 can of them. 1 can of crushed tomatoes. Salt and pepper. 2 cups of white rice. We're going to use a half a pound of ground beef. Half a pound of pork sausage. 1 orange bell pepper. 1 red bell pepper. And yellow onion we're going to be using. And here's a quick tip: if you're doing your julienne onion, take out the root. So you don't have that root in there. Take out the other one. So all you have is that root gone. So you take your knife at an angle, instead of going straight down, do it at an angle, and then start bringing it straight up again. Flip over the onion, go at an angle, and then you come straight back up again. Alright, so we're going to be using a half pound. These are 1 pound logs here, and to just guesstimate, right in half, that's a half pound. I mean, pretty plain and simple. And again, with the beef, cut it right in half. And there we go. And now we're ready to cook. These halves we'll save for later for another video. Alright guys, so we're going to start cooking this. Now we're going to add a little bit of oil. Do not add a lot of oil, because pork has a lot of oil in it. A lot of grease. So just a little bit of oil, so we can get our peppers and onions started. Alright, so this pan is nice and hot, so we're going to start adding our vegetables. Just add them all in. We're going to add our salt and pepper. Now you might be saying, oh, why would you add the beef later here? It's going to contaminate it. It's not going to contaminate it. We're bringing this up to 165 degrees, so everything's being cooked together and all the bacteria is being killed. So we're going to be okay. And the peppers and onions take longer to cook than the beef and the sausage will. Alright, now that these vegetables have cooked, we're going to add our pork and our beef. And anytime you add anything to your pan, you always add more salt and pepper. Not as much as when you first started to, but always add a little more salt and pepper. Alright, so now I'm going to add oregano. We're adding it now so then we can get this flavor incorporated into the sauce. And now I'm adding some basil as well so we can get that incorporated into the sauce. Now we're going to let this cook for maybe another 2 minutes so we brown the meat a little bit, but when we add the sauce to it, it's still going to be a little pink, the beef is. Because if you just cook it till it's well done, till it's all fully done, then you're going to have really tough pork and really tough beef in there. Alright, this is the point where we're going to add our crushed tomato and our diced tomato. And then a little bit after that, we're going to add the rice. And again, make sure you salt and pepper. Now y'all thinking maybe that's not enough rice, you know, it doesn't look like enough. Well, right now it doesn't, but rice doubles in size basically. And if you're just making rice just in water and you just wanted to add the rice to it from boiling water, the ratio is 2 to 1. So it's going to be 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice. That's the standard measurement for white rice. Now I'm going to turn down the heat because this is really bubbling. We just wanted to keep it hot, let it simmer a little. We don't want it splattering all over the place, making more of a mess. And to let it simmer, for my stove, it's an electric stove, so it's about between 3 and 4. So depending on what kind of stove you have, if you have a gas stove, you know it's over some medium heat. That's what we call it. Another thing to keep in mind, make sure you're always stirring this because the rice needs to cook. Because if you don't stir this, the rice on top is going to be crunchy. And nobody likes crunchy rice. Because I mean, I know I don't like crunchy rice. Alright guys, when you're creating a Spanish rice dish here, make sure you try it because you don't know what it tastes like. You gotta make sure you try it. It tastes pretty good, also needs a little more salt and pepper. Make sure you always try your food. Alright guys, so this rice is not ready yet, and my pan is getting drier than a bone. There's like no liquid in there. So what do you do when the rice still needs to be cooked? You add a little beef broth or beef stock, whatever you have, you add to it, so then you're not drying out the dish. Because nobody likes a dry Spanish rice. And this again is just beef broth that I have. And don't worry about putting too much liquid in there, just don't overdo it. The rice will soak all that up. So now we're going to let that cook for another couple more minutes. Oh, also, you want to make sure you're using beef broth, maybe chicken stock if you don't have that, but something other than water. Why don't you want to use water? Because it's plain. It doesn't have any flavor. So make sure you add something that has flavor to the dish. Because if you add water, you're going to have a boring Spanish rice. And nobody wants that. Alright, so now I'm going to add a little bit more beef broth to this, and we should be done. And it should cook for about another minute. Alright, while that's cooking for another minute, there's a couple other things I want to tell you about this. You can add like jalapenos, serrano peppers if you want it to be spicy. I don't like it spicy, and my family doesn't like it spicy, so that's why I don't do it spicy. Or you can add crushed red peppers to it. You can also add a little more pepper to it, white pepper, cayenne pepper. Anything that's going to give it spice, you can add to it. Just don't go crazy over it, because then it'll be too spicy and all you're tasting is hotness. If that's what you like, you can do that. So, and again, I just added beef broth. Don't add water, because that just takes the flavor out of it. You did all that hard work for this really nice dish. Kind of easy to do, and just by adding water, you're ruining it. So, and again, this will be done maybe about a minute. The rice is just about cooked all the way through. Make sure you try your rice. Make sure it is not crunchy, because I hate crunchy rice, and I mean I hate it. So I know other people hate it too, so just make sure it's cooked. So and that's why you want to make sure you mix your Spanish rice a lot. You don't have to toss it in the pan fancy like I do. Just make sure you stir it so it's not crunchy. And the other thing that I didn't do is either you can serve it with homemade rolls if you're really ambitious, or go to the store and get some rolls to serve it with, or just serve it with some bread. But I don't want any bread with it, so I'm not going to do that. Now, before you start plating this or doing anything else with this dish, make sure you try it for one last time. Make sure your rice isn't crunchy, and make sure it still tastes good. Make sure you don't have to add any more salt and pepper. And wow, that is freaking delicious. So I'm going to get ready and we're going to start plating this. Alright guys, this is how we're going to serve it up, alright? We're just going to take it and plop it on the plate. Are you kidding me? Hell no. So the way we're going to do it, we're going to try and make it look a little bit nicer than just plopping it on a plate. So what we're going to do is, this is for my youngest little girl. So we're going to put it on the plate. Try to make a little nice line out of it. And that is it, guys. I mean, that's the best you can make Spanish rice look like. You can add a little cheese on top, and that's about it. I mean, add a roll on there if you'd like, but that's as fancy as it's gonna get. Usually you just put it in a bowl and call it a day and put a little bit of cheese on it, and that's it. Alright guys, that is how you make a Spanish rice. And again, there's different variations you can do. It's however you want to do it. So add hotter stuff to it if you want. You can use chicken instead of beef and pork, you know. It's however you want to make it. This is just the basic way of doing it. So if you guys like the video, please smash that thumbs up button. And also please subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And have a wonderful day.